out of the dark, you will come into the light.
Welcome to MojoPlays. Today, we're looking at 10 things to know before playing Assassin's Creed Mirage. Are you excited to go back to the Middle East?
Basim Ebneshal. Are you ready to give up who you once thought you were?
I am.
Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Homage.
We are going back to the Middle East, but this time in 9th century Baghdad.
From the minute it was officially revealed, fans were thrilled to see Ubisoft going back to the well of the Middle East, more than 15 years after the original game. Ubisoft has been open from the start about Mirage being inspired by the game that started it all, an homage to Altair and his travels through the Holy Land.
We wanted to go back closely to where it all began and pay homage to the beginnings of Assassin's Creed.
Basim's going to be doing a lot of things Altair did, working his way through the ranks of an established brotherhood, climbing into those classic assassin bureaus from the roof, and hiding in rooftop gardens, which have made a return. Perhaps this time Ubisoft will actually render some plants in the gardens, but don't hold your breath.
We look at the first AC games and started to wonder what exactly defines the assassin experience to us.
Stealth.
We want players to work in the shadows, plan their next move, strike, and then vanish.
You definitely can be stealthy in the last 3 games, now dubbed the Mythology Trilogy by Ubisoft, but it's not the approach the games want you to take, and it wasn't necessarily easy to pull off. That's not going to be the case for Mirage, which is returning to the stealth-focused gameplay we haven't seen in years. Yes, that includes the true return of social stealth, not the lackluster version of it we had in Valhalla, with Basim able to stand and blend in with groups of civilians. He'll also seemingly be able to don disguises, and a stealthy approach to missions is encouraged. However, from what we've seen, it doesn't look like enemy tagging is returning. Enemies couldn't be tagged in Valhalla like they could in past games, which was what made stealth more annoying, though we do have another eagle to make use of.
The sky is safe, my friend. Survey the area in Kidu.
Setting.
With Baghdad as your playground, we are bringing the action back to a urban environment.
We're heading to Baghdad in the 9th century, the height of the Islamic Golden Age, when Baghdad was one of the most advanced cities in the entire world. Despite being set earlier than Valhalla, Baghdad is so different to Europe in the Dark Ages that it will feel totally new. The game is also going to be contained almost entirely in Baghdad. This means the map will definitely be smaller, probably much smaller, than the maps of the previous 3 games, but that it will feel more vibrant and densely populated. Many fans have nostalgia for those older games that were centered around one or just a few cities that all felt distinct, and finally, it looks like Ubisoft is listening. Story.
Then, out of the dark, you will come into the light.
We don't know much about the story yet, but it's going to focus on Basim, who appeared as an ally and eventual antagonist in Valhalla. He's also the new modern-day protagonist, at least for now, after he tricked Layla into uploading herself to the Isu computer Yggdrasil. Mirage will follow Basim's youth from his early days as a street thief in Baghdad to his rise through the ranks. As we know, he'll eventually become a master assassin and take on his own apprentice, Hytham, until journeying to Norway and then England. But we know very little about how he got there. We'll also see how Basim unlocked his Isu memories, since he's the reincarnation of Loki. Loki, who will take the form of a djinn in Basim's memory corridors.
The stage is yours, Basim. We will be watching.
Multi-Takedown.
Hide in plain sight. Never compromise the Brotherhood.
This is an interesting change to the gameplay, and we'll be interested to see how it plays out. It looks as though Basim's going to be able to carry out multi-takedowns, something seen in Splinter Cell, but also in games like Arkham Knight. On the one hand, this finally gets rid of the problem of assassinating someone surrounded by guards and then having to fight all the guards, which has never been very stealthy. On the other hand, there's a worry that this multi-takedown might make Basim too powerful and the missions too easy, since you can wipe out everybody in one move and then make your escape. But we're also going to be getting lots of new assassination and combat animations, which was something lacking in the last 3 games. Tools.
Have a look, Basim. I may have something that is of interest to you.
You could equip tools in the Mythology games, but you had to go and unlock them through the skill tree, and even then, you can definitely get by in all 3 games easily enough without them. That might not be the case for Mirage. Since it's going to be focusing more on stealth, making use of an array of distinct tools will be just as crucial here as it was in the older games. We're seeing things like traps and smoke bombs, as well as the return of an old classic, the blow dart. This is again harkening back to the older games where you could craft and equip many different tools. It also looks like there will be separate tool vendors, so it won't be unlocked through the skill tree anymore.
See Abu Jafar about some things he's been working on. Then come find us.
Alamut Castle. So far, the only location we know of beyond Baghdad is Alamut Castle, the stronghold where the assassins, still called the Hidden Ones at this point in time, have their main base. This is clearly an homage to how Masyaf Castle functioned in the original game, but it's been a while since we had an AC game with a proper home base like this. Sure, Valhalla had Ravensthorpe, but it wasn't quite the same as returning to Masyaf, the Auditory Villa, or even the Fries' train hideout in past games. We're glad to see the assassins in a place and time where they have such a fortress, and we're sure it will be fun to explore and return to.
You are a hidden one.
Parkour.
For parkour, we look to our previous games for inspiration and chose to put the emphasis on comfort and fluidity.
Something else Ubisoft has been keen to show off is the parkour. Parkour hasn't gone anywhere in the series, it's still been there the whole time, but with the Mythology games, they're set in times and places where there are very few tall landmarks to climb and dense cities to traverse. Yes, there are some, but it's not on the same level as traveling through Paris or Venice.
Many elements from past games are making a return. We have the corner swing, the ability to vault over objects, elevators to quickly reach high ground, but also new ingredients, such as the pole vault.
That's all set to change with Mirage, which brings back many older parkour techniques, like swinging around corners and also a wealth of new animations, as well as speeding up Basim's climbing. We're glad to see the focus on traversal come back, instead of it being an afterthought.
By choosing the right path through the environment, you can move from street level to the rooftops in a blink of an eye.
Collector's Edition. As this is still an Ubisoft game, and as Ubisoft wants to get as much money out of its players as possible, there is a collector's edition for Mirage that you can already pre-order. Called the Collector's Case to make it sound a little fancier, it'll cost $150 and contains a statue of Basim, a map of Baghdad, art book, steelbook, the soundtrack, and a brooch. It'll also include all the deluxe edition content, including Prince of Persia cosmetic items and a pre-order bonus quest about the 40 Thieves, one of the more famous tales from the Arabian Nights.
Embrace the fear. Quiet it. Find the stillness. And let's go.
Release date.
It is a love letter to the origins of the franchise. Coming-of-age story with revamped mechanics to bring the feel of the early games into the modern day.
Finally, Ubisoft has given us a release date, and it's about what you'd expect from Assassin's Creed, releasing in the 4th quarter of the year. It'll be available on October 12th, 2023, and will interestingly come in a little cheaper than most modern games, costing only $50 for the base game. This is probably because it's going to be smaller and shorter than a game like Valhalla, especially since it was originally meant to be DLC for Valhalla that outgrew it. But it has the double-edged sword of releasing on PS4 and Xbox One, as well as PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. This means that more people will get to play it, but also we can't really expect it to have out-of-this-world graphics and performance even on 9th gen machines.
This is a project led by a team of passionate people who have their very own vision of the Assassin experience in mind.
There is much to come, and we can't wait to unveil more about Basim's journey.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.